So this is the book we're reading, A Wrinkle in Time. We're in chapter 10, and if you want to catch up, I do have it on my YouTube channel. I caught up on all the chapters. So, we're going to read one chapter, and yeah, as usual. Whew. So let's see, how many more chapters are in this part of the book? So, we're almost done with this book, actually. I think there's only 2 more chapters. Hello, Ashraf. Hello. So we only have 2 more chapters of this book, and then the next book, because it's a trilogy, will be the second book of the trilogy. So we got 2 more chapters left, 2 more chapters left of this book. Well, 3, I guess, technically, because we have to read 10 still. So, reading chapter 10 tonight, and then we just have 2 more chapters after that. So, hello. So, we are reading A Wrinkle in Time. We're in chapter 10, so we're kind of near the end of the book. But I do have all of the previous chapters uploaded on my YouTube channel, which is linked in my bio. So, everybody can catch up. And so just gonna wait for oh yeah, I forgot. I always forget initially that I need to invite everybody. Because they don't always get the invite. There's some. Good evening. Now we're... What? I watched the movie. It was good. Really? You like the movie? See, like, it's hard. I guess it's just like the book is always better than the movie kind of a scenario if you've read the book. And seeing as how I've read the book, it bothered me so much. But if I never read the book, maybe I would have liked it. I'm glad you liked it though. Hey, welcome Olivia, welcome. So we are reading in chapter 10. 10 is tonight. Let me make sure everybody else was invited that I know typically likes to, can't hold my head up like that. Let's see. I have said this before, but I always wished that, like, TikTok would, like, let me group people based upon, like, the kind of lives that I know that they want to be invited to. Just gonna be adding a few more people that I know typically don't want to miss these chapters. Alright, that's all I'm gonna send out for right now. Alright, water check. Hi. I'm trying to reach it. I got water right here. I've been drinking so much water today and yesterday. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you for sharing the live. You look a lot like Sandra Bullock. I have heard that a lot. I've heard a lot of people that I don't know, but the ones that I do know, I've heard Sandra Bullock, Julia Roberts, what's her name? Angelina Jolie. Story time, Chef Baby, yes! Hello, Waffle! How's my favorite professional chef? Professional chef, you're cute. That's adorable. Your cells hasn't grown back. It'll take some time. At 64, oh my gosh. That's funny. go to bed. I have to read a bedtime story first. Then it's bedtime. That's how this works. Is this real? Squiz. Doesn't mean I look exactly like her. Just some resemblances. Bedtime story, yes! Yay, story time, please. Alright, so I'll start reading since everybody's here, or most people are here. We're reading A Wrinkle in Time. We are in chapter 10. Whitehurst! Hi. Hi, dear. Jesus. Alright, so, we're in chapter 10. There's only 2 more chapters after this, so we are near the end, and I do have all of them previous TikTok lives that I was reading this book up on my YouTube channel to catch up. Crazy that you're laying in bed and I'm getting ready. That's funny. Yeah, it is interesting. Today's your birthday. Happy birthday, Angelina. I'll give you, but Sandra, no. Yeah, I've gotten probably more Angelina. Well, honestly, I've gotten pretty much Sandra Bullock, Julie Roberts, and Angelina Jolie pretty equally, honestly. Depends on how my hair is, and, you know, I don't know. Depends on if I'm wearing makeup, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Alright, you guys ready? Oops. Alright, as usual, I will read the last paragraph of the previous chapter so we can catch up and remember where we're at. And then I'll continue reading chapter 10. And let's see how long it is. If it's a longer one, I'll try to, like, sneak glances. Oh, it's actually pretty short. So I'll just probably read, like, the whole chapter and then check in with you guys afterwards. So, you came back, Zoran! Yeah, see, everybody sees different things. Depends on the angle, what I'm wearing, and yeah, it's interesting. Alright, so, again, anybody who's new, we're reading A Wrinkle in Time. I'm going to read the last paragraph from the previous chapter, and then we'll be in chapter 10. She felt her father grab her by the wrist. There was a terrible jerk that seemed to break every bone in her body. Then the dark nothing of Tesserine. If Tesserine with Mrs. Whatsit, Mrs. Who, and Mrs. Witch had been a strange and fearful experience, it was nothing like Tesserine with her father. After all, Mrs. Witch was experienced at it, and Mr. Murry, how did he know anything about it at all? Meg felt that she was being torn apart by a whirlwind. She was lost in an agony of pain that finally dissolved into the darkness of complete unconsciousness. Now it's chapter 10. Well, that's why I'm doing it for you, and you can relax and enjoy it. Rango! I see you, one of a kind, and that is beautiful. Aw, Olivia, I love that. I think she's crazy. I probably am. Aw, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Alright, now chapter 10. We're all a little mad here. Okay. Absolute 0. Wait. I thought I was too. It's amazing. It's amazing the crazy assumptions we make of people. I have a problem wearing a... Hee-haw. Alright, let's get to reading. Into the USA, I hope I'm not... Oh my goodness, I hope not too. Go to sleep. Huh. There's so many weird people in here tonight. Alright. I'm gonna start reading. You guys can chat to yourselves, I guess. Yeah, it happens every now and then. Like, some nights it's like more than others. It's weird. But yeah. That's okay. Wrinkle's always on it. Alright. Chapter 10, Absolute Zero. The first sign of returning consciousness was cold, then sound. She was aware of voices that seemed to be traveling through her across an Arctic waste. Slowly the ice sounds cleared, and she realized that the voices belonged to her father and Calvin. She did not hear Charles Wallace. She tried to open her eyes, but the lids would not move. She tried to sit up, but she could not stir. She struggled to turn over, to move her hands, her feet, but nothing happened. She knew that she had a body, but it was as lifeless as marble. She heard Calvin's frozen voice. Her heart is beating so slowly. Her father's voice. But it's beating. She's alive. Barely. We couldn't find a heartbeat at all at first. We thought she was dead. Yes. And then we could feel her heart, very faintly. The beats were very far apart. And then it got stronger. So all we have to do is wait. Her father's words sounded brittle in her ears, as though they were being chipped out of ice. Calvin, yes, you're right, sir. She wanted to call out to them, I'm alive, I'm very much alive, only I've been turned to stone. But she could not call out any more than she could move. Calvin's voice again. Anyhow, you got her away from it. You got us both away, and we couldn't have gone on holding out. It's so much more powerful and stronger than... How did we stay out, sir? How did we manage as long as we did? Her father. Because it's completely unused to being refused. That's the only reason I could keep from being absorbed, too. No mind has tried to hold out against it for so many thousands of centuries that certain centers have become soft and atrophied through lack of use. If you hadn't come to me when you did, I'm not sure how much longer I would have lasted. I was on the point of giving in. Calvin. Oh, no, sir. Her father. Yes. Nothing seemed important anymore but rest. And of course it offered me complete rest. I had almost come to the conclusion that I was wrong to fight, that it was right after all, and everything I believed in most passionately was nothing but a madman's dream. But then you and Meg came into me, broke through my prison, and hope and faith returned. Calvin. Sir, why were you on Camazotz at all? Was there a particular reason for going there? Her father, with a frigid laugh. Going to Camazotz was a complete accident. I never intended even to leave our own solar system. I was heading for Mars. Tessering is even more complicated than we had expected. Calvin. Sir, how was it able to get Charles Wallace before it got Meg and me? Her father. From what you've told me, it's because Charles Wallace thought he could deliberately go into it and return. He trusted too much on his own strength. Listen, I think the heartbeat is getting stronger. His words no longer sounded to her quite as frozen. Was it his words that were eyes or her ears? Why did she hear only her father and Calvin? Why didn't Charles Wallace speak? Silence. A long silence. Then Calvin's voice again. Can't we do anything? Can't we look for help? Do we just have to go on waiting? Her father. We can't leave her, and we must stay together. We must not be afraid to take time. Calvin. You mean we were? We rushed into things on Camazotz too fast. and Charles Wallace rushed in too fast, and that's why he got caught. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know enough yet. Time is different on Camazotz anyhow. Our time, inadequate though as it is, at least is straightforward. It may not be fully one-dimensional because it can't move back and forth on its line, only ahead, but at least it's consistent in its direction. Time on Camazotz seems to be inverted, turned in on itself, so I have no idea whether I was imprisoned in that column for centuries or only for minutes. Silence for a minute. Then her father's voice again. I think I feel a pulse in her wrist now. May could not feel his fingers against her wrist. She could not feel her wrist at all. Her body was still stone, but her mind was beginning to be capable of movement. She tried desperately to make some kind of a sound, a signal to them, but nothing happened. Their voices started again. Calvin, about your project, sir. Were you on it alone? Her father, oh no, there were half a dozen of us working on it, and I dare say a number of others we don't know about. Certainly we weren't the only nation to investigate along that line. It's not really a new idea, but we did try very hard to not let it be known abroad that we were trying to make it practicable. Did you come to Camazotz alone, or were there others with you? I came alone. You see, Calvin, there was no way to try it out ahead with rats or monkeys or dogs, and we had no idea whether it would really work or whether it would be complete bodily disintegration. Playing with time and space is a dangerous game. But why you, sir? I wasn't the first. We drew straws, and I was second. What happened to the first man? We don't... Look. Did her eyelids move? Silence. Then... No, it was only a shadow. But I did blink, May tried to tell them. I'm sure I did, and I can hear you do something. But there was only another long silence, during which perhaps they were looking at her, watching for another shadow, another flicker. Then she heard her father's voice again. Quiet, a little warmer, more like his own voice. We drew straws, and I was second. We know Hank went. We saw him go. We saw him vanish. Right in front of the rest of us. He was there, and then he wasn't. We were to wait a year for his return, or for some message. We waited, and nothing. Calvin, his voice is cracking. Jeepers, sir, you must have been in a sort of a flap. Her father, yes, it's a frightening as well as an exciting thing to discover that matter and energy are the same thing, that size is an illusion, and that time is a material substance. We can know this, but it's far more than we can understand with our puny little brains. I think you will be able to comprehend far more than I, and Charles Wallace even more than you. Yes, but what happened, please, sir, after the first man? May could hear her father sigh. Then it was my turn. I went, and here I am, a wiser and a humbler man. I'm sure I haven't been gone 2 years. Now that you've come, I have some hope that I may be able to return in time. One thing I have to tell the others is that we know nothing. Calvin, what do you mean, sir? Her father, just what I say. We're children playing with dynamite. In our mad rush where we've plunged into this before, with a desperate effort, Meg made a sound. It wasn't a very loud sound, but it was a sound. Mr. Murry stopped. Hush, listen. Meg made a strange, croaking noise. She found that she could pull open her eyelids. They felt heavier than marble, but she managed to raise them. Her father and Calvin were hovering over her. She did not see Charles Wallace. Where was he? She was lying in an open field of what looked like rusty, stubby grass. She blinked slowly and with difficulty. Meg, her father said. Meg, are you all right? Her tongue felt like a stone tongue in her mouth, but she managed to croak. I can't move. Try, Calvin urged. He sounded now as though he were very angry with her. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. I can't. Where's Charles Wallace? Her words were blunted by the stone tongue. Perhaps they could not understand her, for there was no answer. We were knocked out for a minute, too, Calvin was saying. You'll be all right, Meg. Don't get panicky. He was crouched over her, and though his voice continued to sound cross, he was peering at her with anxious eyes. She knew that she must still have her glasses on because she could see him clearly, his freckles, his stubby black lashes, the bright blue of his eyes. Her father was kneeling on her other side. The round lenses of Mrs. Hugh's glasses still blurred his eyes. He took one of her hands and rubbed it between his. Can you feel my fingers? He sounded quite calm, as though there was nothing extraordinary in having her completely paralyzed. At the quiet of his voice, she felt calmer. Then she saw that there were great drops of sweat standing out on his forehead, and she noticed vaguely that the gentle breeze that touched her cheeks was cool. At first, his words had been frozen, and now the wind was mild. Was it icy cold here, or warm? Can you feel my fingers? He asked again. Yes, now she could feel a pressure against her wrist, but she could not nod. Where's Charles Wallace? Her words were a little less blurred. Her tongue, her lips, were beginning to feel cold and numb, as though she had been given a massive dose of Novocaine at the dentist. She realized with a start that her body and limbs were cold, that not only was she not warm, she was frozen from head to toe. And it was this that had made her father's words seem like ice, that had paralyzed her. I'm frozen, she said faintly. Camazotz hadn't been this cold, a cold that cut deeper than the wind on the bitterest of winter days at home. She was away from it, but this unexplained iciness was almost as bad. Her father had not saved her. Now she was able to look around a little, and everything she could see was rusty and gray. There were trees edging the field in which she lay, and their leaves were the same brown as the grass. They were plants that might have been flowers, except they were dull and gray. In contrast to the drabness of color, the cold that numbed her, the air was filled with a delicate, spring-like fragrance, almost imperceptible as it blew softly across her face. She looked at her father and Calvin. They were both in their shirt sleeves, and they looked perfectly comfortable. It was she, wrapped in their clothes, who was frozen too solid even to shiver. Why am I so cold? She asked. Where's Charles Wallace? They did not answer. Father, where are we? Mr. Murry looked at her soberly. I don't know, Meg. I don't test her very well. I must have overshot somehow. We're not on Camazotz. I don't know where we are. I think we're so cold because we went through the black thing, and I thought for a moment it was going to tear you away from me. Is this a dark planet? Slowly her tongue was beginning to thaw. Her words were less blurred. I don't think so, Mr. Murry said, but I know so little about anything that I can't be sure. You shouldn't have tried to test her then. She had never spoken to her father in this way before. The words seemed hardly to be hers. Calvin looked at her, shaking his head. It was the only thing to do. At least it got us off Camazotz. Why did we go without Charles Wallace? Did we just leave him there? The words that were not really hers came out cold and accusing. We didn't just leave him, her father said. Remember that the human brain is a very delicate organism, and it can be easily damaged. See, Meg? Calvin crouched over her, tense and worried. If your father had tried to yank Charles away when he tested us, and if it had kept grabbing hold of Charles, it might have been too much for him, and we'd have lost him forever, and we had to do something right then. Why? It was taking us. You and I were slipping, and if your father had gone on trying to help us, he wouldn't have been able to hold out much longer either. You told him to test her, Meg charged at Calvin. There isn't any question of blame, Mr. Murry cut in severely. Can you move yet? All Meg's faults were uppermost in her now, and they were no longer helping her. No, and you'd better take me back to Camazotz and Charles Wallace quickly. You're supposed to be able to help. Disappointment was as dark and corrosive in her as the black thing. The ugly words tumbled from her cold lips even as she herself could not believe that it was her father, her beloved father, that she was talking to in this way. If her tears had not still been frozen, they would have gushed from her eyes. She found her father, and he had not made everything all right. Everything kept getting worse and worse. If the long search for her father was ended, and he wasn't able to overcome all their difficulties, there was nothing to guarantee that it would all come out right in the end. There was nothing left to hope for. She was frozen, and Charles Wallace was being devoured by it, and her omnipotent father was doing nothing. She teetered on the seesaw of love and hate, and the black thing pushed her down into hate. You don't even know where we are, she cried out at her father. We'll never see Mother or the twins again. We don't know where Earth is, or even where Camazotz is. We're lost out in space. What are you going to do? She did not realize that she was as much in the power of the black thing as Charles Wallace. Mr. Murry bent over her, massaging her cold fingers. She could not see his face. My daughter, I am not Mrs. Whatsit, a Mrs. Who, or a Mrs. Which. Yes, Calvin had told me everything he could. I am a human being, and a very fallible one. But I agree with Calvin. We were sent here for something, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are all called according to his purpose. The black thing, Meg cried out to him. Why did you let it almost get me? You never tested it as well as the rest of us, Calvin reminded her. It never bothered Charles and me as much as it did you. He shouldn't have taken me then, Meg said, until he learned to do it better. Neither her father nor Calvin spoke. Her father continued a gentle massage. Her fingers came back to life with tingling pain. You're hurting me. Then you're feeling again, her father said quietly. I'm afraid it is going to hurt, Meg. The piercing pain moved slowly up her arms, began in her toes and legs. She started to cry out against her father when Calvin exclaimed, Look! Coming toward them, moving in silence across the brown grass, were 3 figures. What were they? On Uriel there had been the magnificent creatures. On Camazotz the inhabitants had at least resembled people. What were these 3 strange things approaching? They were the same dull gray color as the flowers. If they hadn't walked upright, they would have seemed like animals. They moved directly toward the 3 human beings. They had 4 arms and far more than 5 fingers to each hand, and the fingers were not fingers but long, waving tentacles. They had heads and they had faces, but where the faces of the creatures on Uriel had seemed far more than human faces, these seemed far less. Where the features would normally be, there were several indentations, and in place of ears and hair were more tentacles. They were tall, Meg realized as they came closer, far taller than any man. They had no eyes, just soft indentations. Meg's rigid, frozen body. Back on? Now we're back on? I lost internet connection. Oh my gosh, Eric, thank you so much for the flowers. Eric, do I have you on my bookmark? It's Eric. I don't have you. I know I don't have you because I don't remember that name. But Eric, thank you so much for the gifts, flowers. Whenever somebody sends me a gift, I add them to my bookmark. The bookmark has like little books on a bookshelf. Whitehurst! Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Okay, Eric, the love. It's funny. Alright. Alright, Eric. Your name is right there. Thank you, thank you. NJ! Oh my goodness. Kelsey, hi! Welcome to my bedtime live story. So anytime somebody sends me a gift, I add their name to the bookmark, so I'm definitely adding your name. Welcome, welcome. Your name is right there. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Olivia, I don't do anything. I just sit in the space with people when they need it. You do all the work, and you're amazing at it. Oh, yeah. Thank you, thank you. I love it. I love it so much. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Seriously. You guys are just so wonderful. I appreciate you so much. Oh, Whitehurst! I love it. I love it. Of course, like, I will always do what I can do in my power to be there for you guys, for sure. Lots of hugs. You guys are so freaking sweet. You guys are too good to me. You guys are about to make me cry. Holy crap. Oh, man. Whitehurst, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Chef Baby, hello. Thank you guys so much for the gifts. Kelsey, you are too, seriously. Thank you for the follows, guys. Cavaliers, hello. Howdy. I would choose the ability to teleport anywhere I wanted. Hello from Russia. Hello, Russia. It's not. It's a shirt. It's like a sweatshirt. I love the pandas. Thanks, Franco. Thank you, God. Thank you all. Oh. Guess what I did today? What did you do today? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with all the messages. Oh, I love the Mudkip smile so much. Oh, thank you, Gavadeer, so much. I seriously appreciate it so freaking much. I thought it was a robe. No, it's just, like, it's like has like a drop, like a, I don't know what you call it. It's a sweater. Sorry for all the messages. No, it's fine. I'm glad that you guys could talk amongst yourselves while I was reading. That makes me happy, because it's not always easy to do it. Yeah, we aren't alone. Exactly. We all got each other. And we gotta remember that. We're all just trying to make it through. Okay, so we only have 2 more chapters of this first book. It's a trilogy. So A Wrinkle in Time is the first book of the trilogy, and we only have 2 more chapters left. So, and then it's A Wind in the Door next. So, yes, together we are stronger. Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, I can't. It astounds me the amount of amazing people I've come across, like you guys on here. Like, you guys say how much you needed it, but honestly, like, I needed it just as much. I always do. We all, human beings, of course, we all need it. Alright, so I'm getting pretty tired. So I'm gonna get to sleep, and then, let's see, tomorrow's Thursday. tomorrow I'm getting my next cooking, HelloFresh cooking shipment. I'm not sure what time, but usually it's before dinner time. So tomorrow, there's a good chance I'll be doing a cooking live stream on TikTok tomorrow night. So you all know how that always goes. And again, I just finished my YouTube channel, sprucing it up and getting it all situated with all my previous TikTok lives. So I have it all categorized with playlists, and they're in order. So I have each book that I read, I have it in its own playlist, and I have it in order, so you can like start from the beginning and it auto plays through all the chapters. So you can kind of have it like an audiobook. And then I also have my cooking lives on there, and those seem to be like kicking off pretty hot and heavy because people love watching me bumbling around the kitchen trying to figure out how to do basic cooking. So, Meet You by the Moon. Oh, I love that. Sweet dreams, sweet dreams. Yeah, they are good. It's been interesting. Welcome to the status. Yeah. Okay, alright. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Or